I want to go, if you don't mind, on a bit of a rant about the Lubavitcher Rebbe, because as we spoke about yesterday, he's trending. Thanks to some anti-Semites, the Lubavitcher Rebbe is trending. As you may know, I personally met the Lubavitcher Rebbe many times, and I would like to speak about those experiences. Stay put if you want to hear some serious, fiery, I'm going to yell at all those people who not only misunderstand the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but misunderstand themselves. Like, unfortunately, many people today, they think they're one thing and they're really another thing, like they completely misunderstand themselves. So I'm going to be explaining as well that, the very fact that people spoke about the Lubavitcher Rebbe in the way that they spoke about him is because not only do they misunderstand the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but they also misunderstand themselves. And for all you viewers out there, thanks for joining. We love to have you. But I just ask one favor. If whatever platform are you on, if you're on YouTube, you have to hit subscribe and the bell so that you get notified every time that I do a class or that we do a class here. Please do it right away before the class begins, because you're going to get so fired up from the class, you might not remember to do it later. So do it now so you don't forget right away. Let's go. Okay? So now I have everybody waiting for what you're waiting for, right? We speak about the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Lubavitcher Rebbe. Yeah. So first of all, the Lubavitcher Rebbe is personally a very personal, if you want to say, inspiration, not just because I'm Chabad and Chabad always follows the Lubavitcher Rebbe, but I in fact was raised in Crown Heights with the Lubavitcher Rebbe. I like telling people that if you've ever seen the videos of the Lubavitcher Rebbe encouraging children, then that was me, right? I was there. I was 9 years old when the Rebbe had a stroke, and from then on he didn't really speak to the public. He did come out to the public, but he did not speak to the public because he wasn't able to speak very well. And I was 11 years old when he passed away. So he definitely had a very personal influence on me personally as an individual, not just in the fact that I'm Chabad and that I follow the philosophy of the Rebbe, but in the fact that he was actually a personal mentor, I don't know if you want to call it, what do you call it? Role model. He was a personal role model to me growing up, something that I really cared about and I really appreciated. Okay? Now, the Lubavitcher Rebbe was quoted as saying how superior the Jews are to all other nations. And of course, in today's day and age, some people, this sounds like Jewish superiority. What's it? Jewish supremacy. Jewish supremacy, okay? So, I want to deal with this fact, etc., and I want to explain to you guys how stupid that comment really is, okay? Number one, could you tell me one group of people that don't think that their way is the best way? If they didn't think their way was the best way, they would do something else. Right? Listen, Meshuggah, go ask a Christian, do you think our religion is the best religion in the world? Yes, we do. Okay, so therefore you're a Christian supremacist. Are you Meshuggah? That's mad, right? Everybody that follows a particular path, they think that their path is the best path out there. There's no question about it, right? Now, that being said, obviously Jewish people think that we're better than everybody else, at least from the point of view of our belief system. We think our belief is better than anybody else. You know why? Because if we thought somebody else was better, we would be following that belief, right? That's number one. That's very straightforward. I think that's pretty normal, okay? I wouldn't call that supremacy, okay? Now, supremacy would be if I feel that I have the right to control you, I feel that I have the right to own you, something that belongs to you, I feel that I have the right to take because I'm somewhat of a superhuman being. Like, for example, look at the true the white supremacist in its peak was who? Who was the peak of white supremacy? Huh? Who? The Nazis. The Nazis. They were the peak of white supremacy. If you were white, you deserved to live. If you weren't, you maybe deserved to live if you're worth something to the whites. That is somebody who is willing to harm, willing to attack, willing to steal from somebody else. Okay? Supremacy as a feeling is actually what I think everybody feels, that they're supreme and that they're the best, because if you didn't think you were the best, you would do what you think was the best. There's nothing wrong with thinking you're the best. Okay, saying that the Rebbe is a white supremacist because he thinks that Judaism and the Jewish nation is the most awesome thing that ever existed on planet Earth is not white supremacy. Okay, as a matter of fact, I want to say that the person that suggested this stupidity, okay, I don't even want to mention this woman's name. This person that mentioned this stupidity, this person officially is representing conservative ideas. Okay, but in fact, this whole rant that she had is super leftist radicalism. Okay, it's radical leftism. Why is it radical leftism? I'll explain to you how. What does radical leftism do? What do? They take a name of something horrible and they tell everybody that anybody that they don't like, they say this is it. Right? They don't like you, they call you racist. They don't like you, they call you a homophobe, a Islamophobe. They just call you names based on nothing. Okay, that is the modus operandi. Okay, you know what that means? The mode of operating of the leftist radicals is to pick a concept that is in fact a horrible concept and then just start labeling people that they don't like with that name. And that's exactly what this woman did. She's officially a conservative. You're not no conservative, missus. You're a radical leftist that is just trying to gain the influence through calling yourself a conservative. That's not conservative values. Conservative values, A, is built on truth, is built on fact. There's no factual evidence that the Rebbe ever encouraged anybody to harm somebody, to even hurt somebody's business just because they're not Jewish. The Rebbe never said that. Exactly. On the contrary, the Lubavitcher Rebbe was the first rabbi ever in the history of probably in the history of all rabbis to actually suggest that Jewish people should go out there in mass and try to engage people that are not Jewish. Okay, I don't know any other rabbi that said that. Okay, for the purpose of teaching them morals, for the purpose of teaching them a way of life. If you know that many non-Jewish politicians would come to the Rebbe would hand them $1 and say, here's $1, I want you to go give this to somebody else. I actually remember Mayor Giuliani, that guy. Let me tell you, he comes to the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Mayor Giuliani, and the Rebbe hands him $1. And Mayor Giuliani, he says, I'm a public figure. I can't take money from you, Rabbi. I'm not allowed to do this because it sounds like a bribe or whatever it is. The Rebbe had to explain to Mayor Giuliani. He explained to him, he says, this is not for you. This is for you to give to charity. Right? It's not for you. I'm not giving you $1. I'm giving you $1 so that you can give this to charity. And that was something that the Rebbe did very often. The Rebbe would give people money, Jews and non-Jews, money to encourage even non-Jews that they should be giving charity. I don't know any Jewish leader in the history that made such a big deal out of trying to have a positive influence on everybody. Huh? So somebody asked I should explain a little bit about the Rebbe giving out dollars. The Rebbe would give out dollars generally every Sunday. There were special times, special occasions that the Rebbe gave out dollars, not on Sunday, but generally for the last few years of his life, every single Sunday he would give out dollars to anybody that came to to get it. Anybody that came to get $1 from the Rebbe, they would get $1 from the Rebbe. And again, it wasn't meant to be a personal gift. It was meant to be that the Rebbe is giving you a blessing. But not only is the Rebbe giving you a blessing, he's giving you the opportunity to do a kindness by the fact that he's giving you $1 with the purpose that you should give this $1 to charity. Right? That means thousands of people passed it forward because of the Rebbe every single Sunday. And by the way, if you look at the videos, there's still video documentation. People from all walks of life would come and receive these dollars. You had whites, blacks, Chinese, Mexicans, politicians, regular people, you name it, they were all there getting the $1 from the Rebbe, getting the inspiration. Okay, so I don't know a Jewish leader in the history that so much engaged and cared about those who weren't Jewish as much as the Lubavitcher Rebbe. So to suggest that the Rebbe had this active desire to hurt, to harm, to impose his power on others is the most outrageous and stupid thing. And the only thing I could say it is it's literally a take on the leftist, how should I say it? The leftist way of operating, where you just call everybody you don't like, you call them a racist, a bigot, a homophobe, a Islamophobe, you just throw at him as many names as you could without it actually meaning anything, without it actually being true. That's the fact. Okay? Why are you playing videos and then you don't like what I'm saying? Oh, you're playing my own video. Sheesh, he likes what I'm saying so much he wants to hear it again. I'm not even finished. Anyways, so that's the facts on the ground. Mrs. whatever your name. I don't even want to mention. Why should I mention her name? Why should I mention her name? Sheesh, I don't want to mention her name. Idiot. Idiot. And by the way, I should say a scam. She's a scam because she's trying to present herself as a conservative. Now I want to go into something else and more deeper on this very topic, okay? She quoted from the Rebbe where the Rebbe said that the entire world should recognize that there is so much they owe to the Jewish nation and that till today they owe their existence to the Jewish nation. Okay, that's pretty much what the Rebbe said, and I want to take that apart because you know what? I hate to break it to you viewers out there or anybody over here, it's 100% true. Okay, all conservative values, again, I'm talking conservative because this, I don't know what you want to call this woman. She officially represents conservative values. Conservative values are based on biblical values. Where do they come from? They come from the Bible. Before the Bible, people were eating their kids. Okay, they were sacrificing their children to idols. Right? They were eating other people. They were, who knows what they were stealing. It was horrible. Go to countries today that are not based on biblical values and you'll see that they're all horrible places to live with horrible values. The biblical values is the foundation of conservative values and is the foundation of all of the Western culture. And the more the West deviates from biblical values, the worse they're getting. If you look at all the problems today in the West, is because they're deviating from the biblical values. If they actually kept the biblical values, they would be much better off. Now, where did the biblical values come from? Ding, 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 ding. No, where did they come from? The Jews. Yes, the Jews. You say, what about the Christians? Yeah, the Christians, they only started reading the Bible after the Jews lived and died and sacrificed their lives to bring that Bible to you. Okay, they sacrificed their life for about 1,500 years before Christianity even came about. The Jewish people were being killed by the Romans, by the Greeks, and by the way, that's pretty much where most of the Western world comes from. They killed us over this. They killed us because they didn't like us following the Bible. And then there was this guy, you know what his name is? This Roman leader. His name was Constantine. And you know what he said? You know what he said? He said, if you can't beat him, join him. If you can't beat him, join him, right? He says these Jewish people and their biblical influence is too powerful and I cannot defeat him. He wanted to defeat us, but he couldn't defeat us. And since he couldn't defeat us, what did he do? He decided to take the Bible, reorganize it in a way that it pretty much puts him and the Romans in power. Yeah. And then he basically said, okay, well now I use the biblical values in order to empower myself. Selfish empowerment. Instead of actually looking and saying, wow, this Bible is such an inspirational concept, such great values, such an awesome idea. Instead of saying that, what did he say? He said, let me figure out how to use the Bible to empower myself. I'm going to use these values to make a moral society because a moral society will empower him. That's the whole point of Constantine. Right? Now, there was one problem there. Because anybody that would read the Bible would realize that the nation of Israel is a central and integral part of biblical values. And it's an inseparable part of biblical values. So what did he do? He started putting in these ideas of how the Jews killed this guy and all these anti-Semitic things to try and rip the Jewish people out of the Bible, which he tried very hard, and he managed to murder him and the Christians throughout the last 2,000 years have murdered millions of Jews just to try to rip them out of the Bible so that people shouldn't realize that the Jewish people are an integral fact of life from the biblical values. Okay, that is the reality. And Christians killed us for who knows how long, right? They still, unfortunately, in some places would like to kill us, right? And then the Muslims also pretty much did the same thing. They took the ideas of the Bible, they rewrote them in a way where it kind of empowers themselves, and then they try to kill the Jews for trying to follow the Bible in its pure and perfect way. Right? And I want to tell you, you'd say, okay, so once they have the Bible, now we have it, we don't need you Jews anymore. Wrong. Let me tell you something. Throughout the generations, the Christians were always learning from the rabbis. The greatest priests were always learning the Talmud, and they were asking rabbis questions, and they were constantly trying to engage the Jewish nation because they realized that the Jewish nation is the guardians of the Bible. We are guarding the biblical values. And without us guarding it with our lives and actually sacrificing our lives for the biblical values, those values will disappear from the world. They wouldn't exist. Okay? And yeah, Christians, and by the way, even Muslims till today. I've had Muslims approach me as a rabbi, and I've heard other rabbis that Muslims approach them to understand the Bible properly, to understand how to properly apply the Bible, because in their own areas, there's so much confusion and delusion and people misusing and mistranslating the Bible to try to empower themselves. Okay? That's what they're trying to do. Right? And therefore, the people that actually want to connect with the Bible still have to come to the Jews, because the Jews are the only people that successfully maintain the biblical values ever. Right? Even the millions of billions of Christians and millions and billions of Muslims, because it's so big and so mass, they deviate. And that's why there's so many Christian groups, and that's why there's so many Muslim groups, because they can't hold themselves together. So, if you look at the facts of the world today, say as follows. Okay? Listen carefully. The facts of the world today, you know what it says? That without biblical values, we are barbarians. Okay? And the more we deviate from biblical values, the more barbaric this world is getting. We need to get the world to return to its biblical values, and that's actually why this conservative movement popped up, because they realize how idiotic these radical leftist people are going away from the biblical values and trying to invent new values, and they're just completely destroying themselves. They're destroying themselves as well as others. Right? And they're trying to inflict their damage on the rest of the world. Not only do they invent values that are horrible, they try to push them. They're supremacists. Why? Because they're trying to inflict their damaging ideologies on other people. That's what they're trying to do. Right? That's what the radical left is trying to do. They make up a value that's against biblical values, and they try to push and enforce and bully everybody to follow these values, even though these values are horribly destructive. They're horribly destructive. They're killing people today. People are dying because of these stupidities that are out there. Right? People ask me, the Lubavitcher Rebbe actually said Israel is the safest place in the world. Now people ask me, well, hold on a second. If you look at how many people are getting killed in Israel from terrorists, and you compare that to America, you'll see, no, it doesn't work. Right? If you look at percentage-wise, the amount of Jews that got killed by terrorism versus the amount of Jews that got killed in anti-Semitism in America, it's uncomparable. Our numbers are much worse. Right? But you know what I tell them? Well, what about raising children in America? What's their chances of dying from drug overdose? What's their chances of killing themselves? What's the chances of them getting killed, maybe not by an anti-Semite, but some idiot running around shooting people because the guy has a red bandana or a blue bandana? Right? That's the whole thing. If the guy has a red bandana, we kill him. If he has a blue bandana, we're his friend. The mishuggenness. Right? This is America. And by the way, if you manage to survive the gang violence and you manage to survive getting killed by overdosed in drugs, you just got to make sure you're not in the wrong stadium when some wacko decides to take a machine gun and shoot everybody up. Or a school. Right? Some idiot decides, it's fun, I'm going to shoot everybody up. Right? This is American culture. These are the stupid ideas. Okay, most of these kids, they're coming from broken families. Why are they coming from broken families? Because the morality in America sucks horribly. Right? That's why most families are broken. How many normal, healthy families are there in the secular world? People need to come to the Jewish people once again and look at the observant Jewish community and actually watch our families and see kids actually growing up in two-parent households, in healthy places, and growing up in a healthy way, not going on drugs, right? So you're telling me that America is safer than Israel? Okay, so maybe in America there's a less chance dying from terrorism. But if you count all the other variables, it's horrible. It's horrible, right? Why? Because the biblical values are what holds America together, or what held America together. And if they're going to leave it, they're going to self-destruct. Forget about somebody else killing them. They're going to kill themselves. And they are already, many of these people, with these values. Killing themselves. They are. It's a crazy. Do you know what the statistic of suicide is in America?
8%?
I heard it's 1 in 60 people.
34.5%, depending on the age range for young people.
34%? Means 1 in 3 young people kill themselves?
No, attempt.
Huh? 1 in 3 people attempt to kill themselves. You know what I feel bad? I'll tell you what I feel bad for. I feel bad for those people, because if you attempt to kill yourself, you obviously have such a confused reality that you want to kill yourself. What's wrong with you? Like get out of there. If you ever attempted to kill yourself, run the hell away from whatever culture you're in. Okay, go somewhere else, find something better. I don't know, maybe it's your religion. I don't know if maybe it's your culture, your belief system, your worldview. Something's messed up. If you want to kill yourself, you're messed up. Okay, that's it. Okay, go somewhere and get unmessed up. Right? Go learn some Talmud. I'm telling you, come learn some Talmud with all your heart and all your soul. You won't even think about killing yourself because you'll have too much else to think about. Right? You have to think about the Talmud. You have time to think about killing yourself. Too busy. I'm too busy to consider such stupidity. Right? This guy's laughing. It's true. It's true. Right? And all this is owed to the biblical values that the Jewish people brought, that the Jewish people are still maintaining today. Today. I'm not talking about yesterday. Okay? So yes, Mr. or Mrs., whoever you are out there, that decided that the Jewish people that you don't owe your existence to the Jewish people, you do. You owe your existence to the Jewish people, because without us, you would have already self-destructed with the lack of the biblical values. That's it. I don't care. I'm going to say it straight. You owe us your life. That's it. We saved your life. The very fact that you're alive today is because of the biblical values that we lived and died for the last 3,500 years. And the quicker you realize it, the quicker you'll understand your own need to properly connect with the nation of Israel, to properly understand the biblical values. And I'm not saying that you should become Jewish, by the way. In Judaism, we don't need everybody to become Jewish, but in Judaism, we have biblical values for Jews and biblical values for those who don't want to be Jews, which means the Bible actually has a particular nation that's meant to be a nation of priests. It actually calls us a nation of priests. You know why? Because we have a job in this world. Our nation, the nation of priests, our job is not just to follow biblical values, but to be an influence onto others. And in order to be an influence, your values have to be at a higher level than others. And that's why in the Bible there's higher values and there's more observance required of Jews than of non-Jews. But that doesn't mean there's no biblical values for non-Jews. There absolutely are. There's a whole list of biblical values for people who don't want to be Jewish, right? But you need to connect to the Jewish people to know what that is. Okay? And if you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can send me a message, you can send me an email, you can send me however you want to get a hold of me, and I can help you get some information on this reality. And we're going to finish off with this. Okay? The Jewish people believe that we're almost at the Messianic era. We're literally like on this threshold. Any moment, there's going to be a pop, and Messiah is going to arrive and drastically changes this world for the better. Okay? Now, for those of you who are afraid of not being Jewish, some people are afraid, if the Jewish Messiah comes and I'm not Jewish, he's going to smite me, he's going to beat me, he's going to eat me, he's going to, I don't know what. Right? You know why they think that? Because that's what the other people say. They say, if you don't follow our Messiah, then you're dead. No, let me tell you something. The Jewish Messiah is going to bring peace to the entire world. The Jewish Messiah is not going to need to force his opinions down your throat. You know why? You know why? When do you need to force your opinion down somebody's throat? When the other person can't handle it, they don't understand it. And you know what? Perhaps they don't understand it because it's not true. You ever considered that? If you need to force your opinion down somebody else's throat, maybe you're wrong. Yeah? Messiah will have this brilliant ability to educate and to enlighten every single person in this world to realize the awesomeness of connectivity that God brings to this world, and he won't need to shove it down your throat because you're going to understand it on your own. Okay, he's going to help you understand it. And that's what Judaism believes. As a matter of fact, if you read Isaiah, when he speaks about the Messianic era, he doesn't speak about Messiah controlling the whole world. He says that all the nations will come to Jerusalem to learn from Messiah. That's what he says. Wow. You know why? Because they will realize the brilliance and they will come to learn. And they will maintain their independent nationalities. Their national identities will stay intact. They will not lose their national identities. They will maintain their national identities, but they will
be living under a new world
they
order.
will bring, yes, exactly, the New World Order, exactly. You know what the New World Order is going to be? I'm going to tell you. You want me to tell you what the New World Order is going to be like? Nothing like what you think. All of the conspiracies speak about the New World Order as this horribly controlling government. It's going to be the exact opposite. It's going to be a world where people realize that control itself is a horrible trait, right? If you see somebody killing somebody, like, sorry, that's wrong. You're going to realize somebody controlling another is wrong. You want to influence others, you have to influence them in a positive way. You have to educate them, right? As a matter of fact, those of you who are going back on the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, actually in America, every year on his birthday, they celebrate Education Day. You know why? Because the Lubavitcher Rebbe was known as educating. He wasn't known as he wouldn't make protests. He wouldn't, militant, all this garbage. He didn't have to do it. He would get up and educate and reason with people and explain people the details of reality and the details of spirituality. As a matter of fact, for those of you on YouTube, my YouTube channel is called Intellectual Spirituality. This is from the Lubavitcher Rebbe. The Lubavitcher Rebbe wants us to analyze and understand spirituality with our brains in the most rational and perfect way possible.